Good evening, everyone. And there's a whole bunch of you I can see. Thank you that you did come here tonight. Hopefully, there might be a few more people trickling in after traffic dies down a little bit. I'm Michael Dillon Welch, and together with Tanya McDonald, my co-curator in crime, we run the Soul Food Poetry Night here once a month on the third Thursday of each month, and we're very, very pleased to have you here. We have two featured readers, and I'll introduce them. They'll read, and then we'll have a break, and then an open mic, and the sign-up sheet is over there, and there's two people on it so far. If you want to add your name, read a poem of your own, or a poem by somebody else, that would be fine. Go find a poem in the poetry section here if you'd like to read. And also at the break, please make sure to buy stuff to eat or drink at the bar here. So to begin, I'd like to read a poem by Seamus Heaney, who passed away recently. This is Digging. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father, digging. I look down till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through the potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that he picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my fingers and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it. Seamus Heaney. Thank you. And I have a soft spot for Seamus Heaney because he wrote a wonderful haiku or two, and since I'm a haiku fan, I like the fact that a Nobel Prize winner wrote some haiku. So tonight our two featured readers are Anastasia Tolbert and Damon Arundel, and we're pleased to have you both here. People are going to miss out who weren't here, because I know we've got a great reading here. Anastasia's work is a trellis of twilight, ultramarine ache, and lowercase loam. I love the word loam. She's a Cave Canem Fellow, Hedgebrook alum, Vona alum, and Edge Professional Writer graduate. Tolbert is a creative writing workshop facilitator, documentarian, and playwright. She writes about topics that make people uncomfortable. Her focus is often woman-centered and covers topics from trauma to tricycles. Her poetry, fiction, and nonfiction have been published widely. She has a website at AnastasiaTolbert.com and also a blog on Blogspot with the same name, which I invite you to visit. So please help me welcome Anastasia.
Hello. I believe you are in for a treat. And there's more treat for you. since you're here. I am reading from a book in progress called A Series of Things. And so everything that I'm reading tonight is part of a series, meaning there's several poems in one group. And the majority of these poems are coming from the children series. So you'll hear me say the children 4, the children 5. I don't want you to think I'm not creative and I just can't title my poems. So I'm letting you know right now, I know what I'm doing, and they are all part of a series. So I'm going to start with the book of interviews. Lola. Lola says, Vietnam veterans are impatient, and if a person has a good heart, their blood smells like sangria. Lola says, up until babies are 3, they can see dead people and can swim naturally. But not naturally like fish naturally like dogs. Lola says she knows these things because she is an old nurse, and old nurses know a lot. Old nurses know too much. Old nurses just know. Lola says Michael Jackson had a twin, and the twin did all the crazy shit, and the real Michael Jackson lives in Florida. Lola says she knows this because she is an old nurse who lives in Florida, who also has a twin. Lola says if you add honey to chili, a bath, and your clitoris, you'll keep your man forever. Lola says she knows this because she is an old nurse who lives in Florida, who has a twin without a man. Letitia, from the book of interviews. You were born on a Sunday because your mother says you were God. You tell me your backstory through red lipstick. You tell me you actually hate red lipstick, but that you wanted to look bright and shiny and happy for me. Your shirt isn't quite see-through, but I can see through it. You fumble with your carrot stick and pretend it's a magic wand. When I ask you what you would make disappear, you tell me everything and nothing. Well, I'm here because you said you do unbelievable magic. Are you prepared to show me? And just like that, she steps outside herself while her body self remains seated. Her body self laying. Her body self not laying like she's dead, but more like asleep after a swaggery walk from the bar. When I see herself step outside herself, I try to talk to the woman on the inside. The woman on the inside is much happier and chooses not to talk to me. Once, pretty little hymen, they tell you to be wet but not cry. Do not open yourself up to weakness. Pretty little hymen, butterfly, pookie pooda, pretend like no one took you. Plead like you gave yourself away, like you swirled you up and presented you on floral platter. Pretty little hymen, teacup and chip saucer, imagine yourself safe. Imagine your walls 10-story. Imagine your high walls made of superwoman steel. Imagine your high walls made of steel with a sign which reads, pretty little precious hymen, blink yourself as a cat. Imagine yourself being pet only when you feel like it. Imagine yourself purring. Imagine you control the lights. Green means go. Blood red means no me gusta. Pretty little baby sweetie pie hymen, think of it this way. No harm can ever come to you again. 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 From the Days of the Week series. Wednesday. You do not tell anyone it'll be all right, no rockabye baby or tequila shots. You do not tell them about the lump, how it is silent, how it uses its eyes, how it says, come here. And you won't tell anybody just yet. You ain't nobody's business if it is, and you will not cry yourself a river because you do not know exactly if you will swim. Thursday. The lump has decided it will not speak in front of doctors. When the doctor looks at it to say how long the lump, it covers its ears. You decide you will be the lump's ally. You will support its case for wanting a new home. The lump would like to inhabit another body part. When you tell it not to, it shrinks itself for the doctor. You shrink yourself for the doctor, and you leave feeling like your legs are made of snow, sometimes melting, sometimes firm. Friday. You and the lump have dove showered together. Your skin's pat dry, your voice is tired, and you don't want to ask the lump how long she'll keep quiet, and you don't want to tell her you've packed her shit and she needs to go. And you take great hero comfort in knowing she will not be will work for food, raped, or mistreated, just removed. Just get the hell out. Just outpatient procedure for hours. Just precautionary. Just microscope wait and see. You want to ask her what she's holding on to, and if it's the kind of thing you can laugh about or the kind of thing you cry about. When you say, "Good night, lump," she offers you one final word: wait. Can I remove this? Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that was complicated. Okay. The children, too. The children have decided their father is not the Antichrist. They have decided he is just a weak man. But they wish he were the devil instead. Even the devil makes a plan and sticks to it. Even the devil takes care of the people he loves. The children, 3. The children have agreed upon what's for dinner, nothing too complicated or two-part or filling. They want cheese pizza, and they don't want it homemade or fancy like Daddy used to make it. No Italian sausage or secret sauce Mom never knew about. No hidden layers of this or that to make life seem supreme. The children, 4. The children have decided Jesus is not their homeboy, and they want everyone to stop asking what he would do in the case of premarital sex, or in the case of abortion, or in the case of prayed-up super Christian women raped in the back of a truck. The children have decided Jesus knows nothing about romantic love, how it is or isn't supposed to work or not work, because Mama, Jesus was never married. He knows nothing about what happens when parents get divorced and one person is doing the work. 40 days and 40 nights is nothing. The children have decided that if Jesus were their homeboy, he'd eat hummus and olives, but not pulled pork sandwiches. He'd skateboard and smoke weed, but he'd rock a high-top fade. He'd be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich of Muhammad Ali and the Dalai Lama, plus a crust of newborn baby and a puppy. The children are confused about the disciples, on whether they were leaders or followers, on why Jesus and Judas didn't just start a band, and why Jesus didn't climb off the cross and beat the shit out of the people stoning him. The children, 5. The children say adults don't listen, say adults do a lot of blah, blah, blah with their fingers fixed and their eyes indexed. The children don't want to be told it'll be okay. Okay means it'll be fine. Okay is how you respond to a bill collector telling you have to call you back. Okay is how you feel after you've had a bad day. Okay is not how you feel or respond when you want to kill yourself and you think no one knows how you feel. Okay? The children are too big to rock to sleep, and chocolate cookies and milk can only go so far when you can already drive and have sex. Too big to read an imaginary story and promise to walk in the park. The children think imaginary friends are healthy. Make a joke about calling their imaginary friend Dad. The children, 6. One of the children is splattered on the wall. His bitterness of why, half poop, half vomit. His ability to trust weak need and no appetite. When I go to comfort him, he says he's dehydrated. All the juicy stuff he used to swallow, overgrown in a Lilo and Stitch sippy cup. I sing, "Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys." And he says he's too old for feel-better songs. He says he was never going to be a cowboy anyway. Says he'll leave that up to his father to pillage the land. The children, 7. The children have decided they are spring fever with high school, pack their brains with the winter clothes, let the cerebral cortex morph into mush and not enough snow days they didn't get. Decided math is a synonym for meh and bleh. Wonder when they'll ever need to know the mechanics of the sternum. The children have begun to act like safe-weight tantrums. There is boo about homework, peas, and vacant dinner chairs. And there is nothing a mother can presto. There is nothing a mother can speech that will speed up the hours until the final day of school. And can you ever really hurry up and have a baby? Can you schedule when and where your baby will break down? When your baby will sneak a cigarette over senior finals and too expensive prom dinner. The children have decided to count the number of peas on the plate. Promise to eat 7 peas. Promise not to complain about peas. Promise not to remember sometimes a single serving of one mom equals 7 peas and water to drink until payday. How am I doing on time? The children, 8. The children have decided that counseling is a good thing, blah, blah, blah again, to someone who doesn't know their favorite kind of vegetable and that they masturbate at night might be all right. The children have decided that forgiveness is much harder than hating. For that reason, hate is a likely choice. Who has time to spend on forgiveness when finals are coming up, when the loop of life doesn't have as much as a new Kanye song, and where in the world is Yeezus when you need him? The children cannot seem to get past the water to wine, want to know if the real Jesus had a glass before bed, want to know why the Bible never says if he had underarm pit hair or if he shook his penis after a pee. Does God need a penis, Mom? No, but he needed a vagina to come through. The children are head scratching about the difference between Jezebel and the woman who open-armed a concubine to her husband. Is the woman having sex with the husband who invites another woman in better because she invited the woman in and God said so? And what kind of man will we be? This is the question the children cannot answer because does a tree know it is not fully rooted after it's tall or before? Last 2. The children are not red, white, and blue, not I pledge allegiance to no thing. Where there is talk about sailors and war, the children understand about casualties, about vomiting hearts and beating gums. The children have decided the best thing about the 4th of July is hot wings. Leave the stains on the wet nap and suck the last piece of summer together off the bone. Watch the bones stack up on a plate like dominoes or lies or bodies. The children ask when we kissed if I saw fireworks. When I told them yes, they give me a brown boy TED talk about what happens when you hold a burning thing too long in your hands. The children have decided they will wear 2 hoodies in 90-degree weather. They have decided that getting off now means the children are extra mama do you need, mama do you want, because they need and want fair security. Because a walk outside might mean a funeral, a faggot, a fence, or a foreshadow. The children are hiding it could happen to me and why, stuffing it inside hookah donut holes and Instagram pictures of hamsters in bathing suits. The children have immortalized Trayvon. Say it 3 times like Candyman, like Bloody Mary, like pop, pop, pop. Thank you.
Thank you. And I bet there's more where that came from. Now I'm on. Okay, thank you. Next, we have Damon Arundel. He was a poet, performer, and teaching artist. He's curator and producer of the longest-running weekly show in Seattle, the Seattle Poetry Slam. And if you haven't had a chance to check that out, it's been a while since I've been there. I should go check it out myself. Please do. 8-time coach of the renowned Seattle National Poetry Slam team, writer-in-residence through Seattle Arts and Lectures Writers in the Schools program. And in 2012, he taught Seattle University's first course in slam poetry. I'd like to know more about that, how that went. Damon has performed across the country and has been repeatedly commissioned by both Seattle and Bellevue Arts Museums. Recently, and I saw this in my paper, I opened it up and there it was, he was selected for 13 for 13, a joint project between the Seattle Times and KUOW profiling 13 influential people in Seattle's art scene. So we're very fortunate to have Damon with us tonight. Damon Arundel.
Thank you, Michael, for inviting us. It's a lean crowd, but it's quality. I'll start with this. 10-time Grammy Award-winning and classically trained vocalist and conductor Bobby McFerrin hit mainstream success in 1988 with his pop hit, Don't Worry, Be Happy. It was used as George H.W. Bush's official presidential campaign song without Bobby's permission. He has not performed the song since. Bobby McFerrin is the long-lost father of hip-hop. Bobby is standing on stage pretending to play the French horn. No, Bobby is on stage and he is the French horn. Bobby is the pentatonic scale climbing music chords home. Bobby is home in his throat. Bobby has a concerto amidst the tendons and arteries in his throat and a kettle drum in his chest. Bobby beats his chest while channeling hip-hop's origin story. Bobby beats his chest to puff out the smoke signals. There is a bonfire in Bobby's chest cavity. The bonfire plays a prelude to Empire State of Mind and Mama Said Knock You Out. The clarinets and cellos cavities are smoldering, popping open like forest fire seedlings, spines expanding and bending, releasing strings and keys like bridges collapsing. The brass is smelting down, a Dali replica going liquid, a cacophonic soup of musical creatures and exiles. There is not a whimper, but a dissolve in their silence, a muted death in Bobby's chest. Bobby is an elephant child's trumpet growing, winding up through vocal cord. Bobby is a vocal backspin, a phonation of pop and lock, a classical uprock and pose for posterity and his boys. He is a James Brown hook, looped and sampled, come to life. He has not hit his crescendo yet. The bridge is not over. The walls of his chest cavity are Bismarck's blank stare. Moni Love's accent swallowed by the staccato Brooklyn drawl. Bobby is a wash tub bass line throbbing before the hi-hat drops. He is Jim Crow in the last row of the orchestra pit. Bobby is the breakbeat's long-lost cousin being sounded out in slow motion, finding every vowel's home signal in between the lips. Bobby McFerrin is the fire a Tribe Called Quest tells stories around. He is Kanye West, raised on opera, the Philharmonic's Chuck D. Bobby will do a duet with Drake. Bobby will sing the next hook for Jay-Z. He is the inverse of Eminem, the complex irony of Tupac, living a thug life and trying to keep his head up, the sizzling sound of Old Dirty Bastard's welfare checks burning. Bobby is so hip-hop, his voice is the background music for the dozens. So hip-hop, he had his swagger translated into English, and it reads, Don't worry, be happy. Bobby is so hip-hop, he's been married to the same woman since 1975. Bobby is the lost constellation of notes in the puffed-out cheeks of Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie. Bobby as the bastard child of Porgy and Bess and the William Tell Overture. Bobby is what the voice of the ghetto and the voice of the suburbs harmonized would sound like if we could all get along. Bobby McFerrin is the kiss of the needle on the record before the song even begins. Thank you. This one is entitled Homecoming. It's for my nephews. In the children's game hide and seek, the necessary skills are running, tracking, hiding, and observation. You run or hide from whomever is it to stay safe. In some versions, you can pretend it is a monster. The point of the game is to make it home. Home base, home safe, home free. When a runner or hider has been caught, a new round begins, signaled by the call, Ali Ali Oxenfree, meaning all are free to return home. At the conclusion of the game, no one was a monster, there was no need to hide, and we all went home safe. But children do not remain docked in the safe harbors of home for long. I tempted fate in spades, ventured out into open seas of summer nights for bike rides alone in the dark. It was the same neighborhood I had ventured through in the daylight, but in New York, the night hangs over you like a hood. In New York, the stars don't shine bright enough to compete with the skyline's constellations. Wandering like Magellan, familiar landmarks faded into the shadows. I had only the streetlight stars to remind me of my place. I counted these low-hanging comets shackled to the sidewalk to tell me how far I'd gone and to help guide me back home. When it rains, even the streetlights become sirens and abandon us in the dark. It was raining the night he didn't come home. Home, where you belong. If I cannot find home, I am lost. If I am lost, I do not belong. Monsters can smell you when you do not belong. Monsters kill those who do not belong. Monsters kill those who are not home safe. Monsters do not know they are monsters. Monsters are afraid you want what they have. Monsters are always afraid. Monsters squint their eyes because they are too afraid to see and are too afraid to close their eyes. Monsters do not see well. Monsters only see what they are afraid of. Monsters bear teeth and claws so you do not see that they are afraid. Monsters do not know they are monsters. It is not a long stretch of the imagination to envision black pirates, violent marauders, pillaging. The Somalian pirates were not a stretch for the average American mind, but to picture brown and black faces gracefully, peacefully sailing the open seas. Take notice of the strain on your brain muscles, how reluctant you may be to move beyond what you have previously seen, to reach beyond what we currently know, to let me belong, to let me come home. When you do not know you are afraid, you do not know you are a monster. When you do not know you are a monster, you see monsters everywhere. Imagine me, black man. Imagine anger. Imagine me, black man and angry. Imagine me more than angry black man. Imagine me heartbroken. Imagine me angry and heartbroken. That my anchor has touched down in every emotional port and I continue to sail. That I am whirlpool and shipwreck, tide pool and deserted island. That I am angry, fearful, terrified, human. And I want to reach home safe. Imagine your sails open for me. That I am whistling for the wind to catch us both. That the waves have been choppy and I have no desire to be cast overboard. Imagine me coming home. Imagine me deserving home. Imagine me human. Imagine me coming home. Imagine home being next door. Imagine next to you being safe with me home. Imagine you being safe by me being safe. It was a Tuesday when he set out to port. Sailors believe the only good day to sail is Sunday. Tuesdays are not a day for homecoming. It was raining. Didn't even have the streetlight stars to guide him home. I wonder if he was whistling. If it was his innocent whistling that called the wind and brought a sea monster to him. Stars shine at us from far away. Their bright is too far away to hurt us. Monsters like far away. Far away is safe. Stars are allowed to shine from far away, where they belong. A star is no more than a rock whose home is the heavens. How do you reach home when your shining is a threat? Threats do not belong. Monsters kill what does not belong. He did not sail far. He was not lost. He was too close. Monsters do not like close. The monster caught his shine in the rain. The monster's compass homed in on him, named him north, named him target. Monsters do not see well. Monsters only see what they are afraid of. He didn't need the streetlight stars to find his way home. He was no pirate, had pillaged no bounty. Brown face in the open sea of the night, a star in the flesh. Monsters exist to instill fear. Imagine him a star. Imagine him afraid. Monsters can smell fear. How do you get home when there is no safe? How do you get home when you are the target homed in on? Monsters do not know they are monsters. He did not belong. Imagine the monster driving the point home. The necessary skills to win at hide and seek are running, tracking, hiding, and observation. When our stars are never allowed to shine, we have only their shadows to follow. Surrounded on all sides by darkness, even the light becomes hard to swallow. Ollie, ollie, oxen free. Ollie, ollie, oxen free. Ollie, ollie, oxen free. Thank you. How am I doing on time? Time for... Okay. I'm going to do 2 more. All right. This is called Mugs, and it's based off of a piece that I saw at the Bellevue Art Museum that was really intense and powerful and also heartbreaking. There is a substance that must be carried. Design a vessel that will carry this mix, this clay, this mold. Draw a pattern for your vessel. Cut out your pattern pieces. This bend, this shape, this fit. Test your pattern pieces to see if they fit. Cut them if they do not fit. If you have leftover clay, the pieces will have to be wedged. Wedging mixes the clay. It makes the vessel more orderly. Repeat. The walls of the vessel will use a bevel cut. The bevel cuts on each end will be supplementary. That means they will fit together in a straight line. Decorate minimally. Repeat. Program your vessels. Give them purpose, but not importance. Instruct them. We want you, not you, but what you hold. Not what you hold, but what we give you to carry. Swear. Swear to carry it out. Swear to carry out everything we give you. You are just a mug. No more than a vessel worth no more than what you carry. Give your mugs names, not identities, names. Private, peon, pawn. Give your mugs a sense of history. Examples: a role, not importance, a role. G.I. Joe, Captain America, Rosie the Riveter. If mistakes are made and the mugs crack or break, return to the design. It is easier to fix mistakes on paper than mistakes in hardened clay. It is recommended that you test your patterns over and over and over. Some designs require more convincing, more wedging. In desperate times, take shattered mugs and use severe heat to blend the pieces. This keeps the area from becoming thin and weak. Thin and weak are not suitable to carry anything. If parts of the edges of the handle are crooked, cut the bad parts. If the first trim isn't enough, trim again. This is collateral damage. This break, this shatter. There is no silence in battle. How many screams can one mug hold? How many mugs will be needed to carry what needs carrying if there are screams as well? When the screaming cannot be contained, can one mug be used to silence another? Or does that just trap the sound inside them both? How does smashing one mug against another silence the screams? How many mugs of water does it take to clean a mug of blood? How many mugs of whiskey before the nightmares stop? What is the cost of a mug of silence? How much independence can one mug carry? How much fear? How much freedom? What is the cost of a mug? How many will we shatter and smash and crush when the enemy is visible, when the enemy is everywhere, around every corner, behind every sign, behind the bright spot of every light bulb, behind the dark spots of your eyelids, when you can't close your eyes, when you can't hide behind your closed fingers, when you can't forget what you know, when you can't forget what you've seen, when you can't carry anymore, when you cannot be contained, when you have been cracked and can't stop leaking everywhere. Draw a pattern for your vessel. Cut out your pattern pieces. This bend, this shape, this fit. Test your pattern pieces to see if they fit. Look at the container, not the contained. Do not acknowledge the internal jostling, the way the liquid clings to the internal walls, knowing the blunt force on the horizon. Line up the edges to create complementing balances. We want lines that straighten on command, even if they begin with curves. Test your pattern pieces to see if they fit. Cut them if they do not fit. Then point them in the direction of the enemy. All right, this is my last piece, and I actually need your help on this. So when I motion to you all, I need you to say the words, "Put down the pen." All right, let's try that again together. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. The role of the artist is exactly the same as the role of the lover. If I love you, I have to make you conscious of the things you don't see. James Baldwin. Tips on how to throw your art away. Plant a seed for your daddy issues. Let the shining little boy of your heart be rained into rust by the storm of him. Let depression take root. This is the foundation you will need for the release of things. Purchase only expensive handmade journals. Marvel at their perfection, the snowy blank white field of the page. See yourself as a 6-year-old masterpiece of messes tromping around like Pigpen. Why muddy up the beauty of that page with your gritty, grimy humanity? So if you must start. Then make plans to write on Sunday. Elaborate, grandiose plans. Look forward to them all day Saturday. Invite your friends. Give hourly updates of your preparations via Facebook. Then, 1 hour before, like a senior said on Ruining the Prom Queen's Reputation, back out because it's raining, or the sun's out, or you hate your hair, or hate your feet, or hate yourself. There is always next weekend, next month, the spring. You can always make time to be an artist in the spring. For now, just pin your self-worth to the uplift of others. Become a social worker. Make a living from making other people deal with their fear of living. Despite the boulder you store beneath your pillow that you beat your head against in your sleep, know that you are doing good. If tempted to write about the boulder, begin. But when you draw a blank on a proper metaphor for it balancing precariously on the tip of your pen, please just exist only in extremes. Set goals at ultra-marathon distance. Chalk anything short of book deal or world tour up to the fact that you're not really an artist anyway. So just don't just get distracted by love. Get married. Gather the urgency of every breath you've ever taken. Place it in a ring of gold. Let that circle cycle into a representation of every step you will ever take together forever. No pressure. What better art cock blocker than this level of relationship that seeps into everything you do, say, think, and should, if done right? If it is the fairy tale you vowed to, then you will be lost in the throes. Poems? Motherfucker, you've got dishes to do and anniversaries to remember and someone else's whole self-worth to be aware of, and you want to worry about writing poems? Please, just... Now, if you have made it this far, the truth is, seeds will always seek out the sun, and little boys can climb out of the darkness. Hold your breath and count to 10 so you can let go of the hiccups of self-hatred collecting in your ventricles and pick up the pen. You are only toe deep in the world right now, and you need to shake off the shackles you've stenciled onto your wrists. You know the bitter on the tip of your tongue, but have forgotten the rest of your palate. Pick up the pen. Reach further than you have previously. Bite down into the bright red-green mango. Feel the juice slide down your throat. Spring is around the corner, and your teeth require no sharpening. Pick up the pen. Tattoo the words you've always needed billboarded across your life onto the palace of your skin. They will be the tugboat of the sound of your voice. They will occasionally capsize into the depths of you as you attempt to cover up the sea, but watch what they unearth from the trenches every time you make yourself naked and real and true. So dig. Dig down and pick up your chin and your heart and your life and give yourself permission to forget all of this. Forget and forgive and forget and forgive, and then pick up the pen. Pick up the pen. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon. And that's a perfect connection with the digging poem by Seamus Haney. He'll dig with his pen. I think we'll launch straight into our open mic reading, if that's okay. With we have a very small list. Let me get that list. So let's start off with Amy Voles with our open mic. Oh, I forgot to say our question of the month is, what kinds of house plants do you have? A 30-year-old plant that looks like horsehair inherited from my grandma. Okay, that's quite the house plant.
Thanks. Two poems. This one is called One Coyote. One alone first. Quick barks and a long, persistent howl. A long, persistent silence. Then a chorus of barks and troubling howls in response. A response. What else can we ask for in this lonely world but to howl and then a response? Is this mic being weird? Great, thanks. Okay, and this poem is an ode to my frustration with my meditation practice. Simple heart can't beat against the nervous mind. Meditation-trained numbness cuts the circuit to panic by, get this, the same stimulated synapses that fire when you smoke your way out of hell and booze close the blinds in your mind. Empty out the ashtray, smoky leftovers of the thoughts you once had. You medicate your mind with breathing technique. Isn't that better? And it's all natural and free, and you can do it at home. And Deepak Chopra and Dr. Oz and anyone who is marginally enlightened approves and improves by self-meditating every day. It's a discipline, keeping up with addictions. You will convince yourself you are at peace with your screwed up life. You will stare calmly at your spouse who doesn't love you anymore and ignore the whiny overtures of your children while addressing their core needs that they are unequipped to handle. All the while setting an example of peace and virtue for all sentient beings. All accepting the craptitude of your existence, writing down 3 specifics of your daily gratitude while lamenting the state of other states, noticing your breath tighten, escape to your empty-headedness, secure in your practice of letting go. You've let go. You are unattached and shyly superior to the unenlightened masses. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Next we have Susan Weber, and she has a Christmas cactus.
This is my first time doing this, so be kind, be gentle. It's hard up here. One more. So this came fully formed in my mind, including that song to accompany me on this poem. So it's going to be a roller coaster ride and maybe a train wreck, but let's try this out. Okay. Oh, you know about this mic? Yeah, okay. anyway. I don't know if anyone noticed, but tonight is the harvest moon. It's a full moon out tonight, okay? So back in the day, I was telling the other person at the open mic that back in the day in China, you had poet scholars. On a full moon, they'd go out there, enjoy the moonlight, enjoy their friends, enjoy a cup of wine, and recite poetry. Oh, take it down a little. Okay, can you cue back to the top? Huh? Tilt the mic up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how this works, so hopefully I'll try to bring it out. Okay. Okay. Already. Good evening, everyone. It's full moon out, so enjoy that. Enjoy my poem. My name is Susan. I got inspired to write this poem after I took a hike to view the Twin Falls at Olali State Park one glorious Pacific Northwest summer's day. So I hope you enjoy it. Actually, cue this in. Get into it. Today I took a hike. Play it, Dave. Take 5. Here we go. Mother Nature gives me a hug and a wave out the door into the seemingly limitless backyard. Breathing in life, not waiting to exhale so that I may breathe it in again. Running down the trail, obscured by burgeoning greenery, beckoning me upon that enticing path. Alice, keep up with me. Clambering up the wood stairs, spongy with its K that circles back to the new and untested. Crossing the bridge, around the stalwart boulders, over the stolid rocks, sly gravel underfoot. Dodging the bared tree roots and the trailing blackberry vines. I know that game. The blood rising, bits of civilized skin falling by the wayside. I am extending, and I am expanding, and then I stopped, sprawling, with laboring lungs, listening to the trickling of nascent springs. I fall in love again with the world. Renewing me, intoxicating me, filling my body with the vibrating roar of the cascading, boisterous waterfall, playing tag with the dazzling sunlight at the feet of soaring giants. What? Is it time to go home? So soon? Too soon. So reluctant at leaving my wonderland. On the open road, in the raw sunshine, let me hold that moment in time. Thank you.
I think the rest of us can retire. If that was your first time, we're in trouble in the future. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to read? Well, I'll have to inflict something of my own upon you. I have a couple of announcements first. The Redmond Association of Spoken Word has its monthly reading on the last Friday of the month, and that's coming up a week from tomorrow on September 27. And this month it will feature 3 writers in this year's Jack Straw Writers Program, and Damon is one of them, so he'll be back next week to read at RASP. So please join us there at the Old Redmond Schoolhouse Community Center. And also reading is Janine Hall-Gailey, and there's one other person, and I'm forgetting who it is, but we'll have those 3 readers next week. And then the next Soul Food reading is coming up on the third Thursday of October, and that will feature Molly Tenenbaum and Therese Clear. So please come back for that. And I also have some announcements. I've just published this book called Close to the Wind, which is a collection of haiku. And through the Redmond Association of Spoken Word, a couple weeks ago we published, I was the editor for this too, Here, There, and Everywhere, an anthology of poems by the Redmond Association of Spoken Word members. And we had a reading for that with 85 people showing up at Orsk. And there will be another reading coming up on October, I think it's 18, at the Vala Art Gallery at the Redmond Town Center. So please come back for that. And my other news is I have 6 poems in this brand new hardback anthology from Norton. So I'll share these with you if I may. This was just published last month by Norton. So 6 haiku. After the quake, the weather vane pointing to earth. Morning chill. The bag of marbles shifts on the shelf. Paper route. Knocking a row of icicles from the eave. Pulsing in the wiper's blade, the bee's abdomen. Crackling beach fire, we hum in place of words we can't recall. Meteor shower, a gentle wave wets our sandals. And one other poem before we wrap up tonight. This is called Closer to Dying. I feel guilty talking about my dad's profession in the past tense. He was an architect, but he's not dead, just retired. I know the phone call I'll get saying he's gone, but I doubt my mother will call. I'll hear from a sibling, but I'll wish to hear it from my mother herself and wish her the strength to tell me. I keep replaying the conversations I should have with my father, the retelling of family stories, his version, what he felt when he first held my babiness in his arms, why he never once changed a diaper. I know what my mother will say, telling the stories her way, because my dad will say very little, and not because his memory has faded, like his sight and hearing, and like another sky-searing sunset. I fail each time I visit to say, Dad, do you fear dying? Does it hurt to get old? And I wonder, do we fail you when we give you insufficient attention because you don't take the initiative to join the conversation? Should we both make more of an effort? I know my mother complains of early loneliness, of companionlessness for the walks she must take alone, the activeness that she cannot share, as more and more of her conversations are about dying friends and their illnesses and her own. And so the stasis persists. No dying, no phone call, no conversation, rehearsed or not, and the days tick by, regrets growing like weeds, and I am the one who is closer to dying. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Is there anyone else who would like to share? We have one last chance. If not, well, let's get something to eat and drink. And thank you again to Soul Food. Good night. And thanks again to Damon and Anastasia for reading at the start. Good night.